الله أكبر. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. أشهد أن محمد رسول الله. حي على الصلاة. حي على الصلاة. حي على الفلاح. حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر. لا إله إلا الله.
إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا. من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له. وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون. يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما. أما بعد رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. So last week Yusuf spoke about Salah briefly, so I just wanted to expand on that a little bit. He also talked about hardness of the heart, which is the worst disease that we can have, and I'll speak about that inshallah in another khutbah before I leave inshallah. So reminders of small things like this are important, as it might seem like a small thing because alhamdulillah we're so accustomed to doing it regularly, but it's the second tenet of our deen, and that should be a reminder of how important it should be. So unfortunately it's sad to see that many Muslims today just either choose not to pray and say that they have higher priorities, and just because we are praying doesn't mean that we're meeting all the components and conditions of salah that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants. So may Allah improve our salah and make it of the essence that He wants. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala begins in the very beginning ayahs of the Quran in Surah Al-Baqarah. He says, Alif Lam Mim ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين الذين يؤمنون بالغيب ويقيمون الصلاة ومما رزقناهم ينفقون. That not only does He say to just pray, He says to establish the prayer and make it a part of our daily lives and make it part of our routine so that it's embedded into us. So the word salah comes from the root word meaning connection. So just like our bodies require food, rest, water, etc., our soul also requires certain things as well. So a connection with our Rabb is among one of these things. So a common thing that we hear people say now is that there aren't enough hours in the day to complete certain things. But alhamdulillah, we end up getting through everything. So if we can do this for the things that we have to do for work or for school or the worldly life, then for the Creator that's even allowing us to be able to do that, this should be a no-brainer that salah should be at the top of the list. So it's only asking maybe 40 to 60 minutes out of the entire 24-hour day in total for all the 5 salah. So out of the love for Rasul Muhammad sallallahu bargained with Allah to cut down the daily requirement of salah from 50 times a day to just 5. So kind of a forgotten player in the story was Musa alayhi salam. He is the one who pushed Muhammad sallallahu to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to cut down the requirement, stating that your ummah will not be able to bear this when the commandment of 50 came down. So unfortunately we still see that the ummah struggles with 5. So may Allah make us steadfast on prayer. So Musa alayhi salam kept asking Muhammad sallallahu to go back to Allah to cut it down. So until he got it down to 5, then he said, go ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala again, because your ummah will still not be able to bear this. Then Prophet Muhammad sallallahu replied that I feel shy of my Lord, and didn't go back. So we need to show thankfulness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the mercy that He showed to bring this down, because so not only did he take the requirement from 50 to 5, but He's kept the reward of completing 5 daily prayers equal to that of completing 50. So subhanallah. And we look at ourselves as Muslims today, and we find that the ummah as a whole has trouble with completing even the deal that was bargained for. So this is another reminder of the great mercy and reward system from Allah. So he promised us the reward of 10 times for a good deed, and when we commit a sin, it's just that you just get the penalty for the sin in one time. So in Surah Fussilat, an ayah that I've mentioned many times because it's such a beautiful thing to keep in mind, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَأُولَٰئِكَ يُبَدِّلُ اللَّهُ سَيِّئَاتِهِمْ حَسَنًا, that for those who stay on the path of righteousness and do righteous deeds, inshallah their sins will be turned into good deeds on the Day of Judgment. So this is the whole idea where fasting ends. Fasting 6 days of Shawwal comes out to being the reward of fasting for an entire year, because Ramadan is the reward of fasting 10 months, and then fasting 60 more days makes it 2 more months, and that makes it 12 months. So to show the importance of Salah, we don't have to look any further than the words of the man who fought to bring the requirement down. Prophet Muhammad says in a hadith that between disbelief and faith, between kufr and iman, is abandoning of Salah. So let's just imagine for a moment actually having to pray 50 times a day. Would we have anything? Would we have time to do anything but pray? And my guess would be no, because all prayers would have their times, and we have to plan around these times, and you wouldn't really be able to get anything done. But really, this is the point, because we have to always be remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and with His mercy of bringing down the requirement to 5, we should actually remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even more. So as believers, our wish is to be as close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as much as possible. So we're told in a hadith that the nearest a servant comes to his Lord is when he's prostrating himself and touching his head to the ground. So make supplication often. So we reach this point every time we make sujood and salah, and we need to be mindful of how great of a position this is that we're in, and we should prolong this as much as we can, so that we can stay in the closest state to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so we can ask our Lord for what we want. So as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us in Surah Al-Baqarah, indeed Allah loves those who are repentant, who are constantly repentant. So also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminds us in Surah Al-Ankabut that keep up prayer, for prayer keeps away from wrongdoing. So if we struggle with the sin, we're reminded here by the Almighty that the best way to get away from a sin or indecency is to keep up prayer. So this verse here reminds us that no matter what sin it is that we commit and how much of it that we commit, by the will of Allah, if we stay on our 5 daily prayers and we stay in submission to Allah, then Allah will guide us away from it. So I want to share a couple of hadiths that will inshallah remind us of the importance of Salah and essence, because we do not need to always be in the state of Salah to earn this reward. This does not mean that we don't need to pray, because obviously, both of the hadiths deal with being around the state of prayer and waiting for the prayer to start, things like that. So we're told in the hadiths that just sitting and waiting for Salah to begin, we're given the same reward as we're given for praying. So in another hadith, we're told that if we sit after Salah with our wudu intact, that the angels make dua for us. Subhanallah. And because we're able to pray 5 times a day, alhamdulillah, that doesn't mean that we should stop there. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ tells us in a hadith that a house will be built in heaven for the one who prays 12 rak'ah in the day. That's 2 rak'ah fajr, sunnah, 4 rak'ah before dhuhr, 2 rak'ahs after dhuhr, 2 rak'ahs after maghrib, and 2 rak'ahs after isha. So once we get a handle on making our fard prayers, we should try our very best to fulfill our sunnah prayers as well, as we're reminded of the great reward that comes by doing so. And if we can get a handle on this, that still doesn't mean that we should stop. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us there's immense reward in praying in the middle of the night, and this is not just something that we should be doing in Ramadan, because this reward is available for us year round. So we're told in hadith that in the last third of every night, not just the nights of Ramadan, or that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala comes to the angels and asks, is there anyone to invoke me? Is there anyone to ask me so that I may grant his request? Is there anyone seeking my forgiveness so that I may forgive him? We're told in actually a few more hadiths that if there's something that we want, then we should seek it at the time of the Hajj in the last third of the night, and that this is one of the times where dua is not rejected. It's said to be like a dart that does not miss its target. So before I conclude the first half of the khutbah, I want to share just one last ayah from Surah Ra'd, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us, verily in the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do hearts find peace. So we all seek that peace in our hearts, and we're told that by the one who created us, that the way that we can attain that is by keeping the remembrance of Him in our hearts. So may Allah keep us mindful of this. So I'll end the first half of the khutbah here, and inshallah I will talk more about this topic. Astaghfirullah alazim la ilaha illallah wal hayyul qayyum wa atubu ilayh. Okay, so on the Day of Judgment, the first thing that will be questioned, if we're asked about, is our salah. So on this day, nothing other than what's in our hearts will speak for us. So in Surah Yasin, we're told that on this day, our mouths will be completely shut, and only our body parts will speak for what they were made to do. So as stated in the opening khutbah, whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala speaks of salah in the Quran, He does not say to just perform it, but He says to establish it and make it part of our routine part of our lives, and perfect it with the highest of essence and khushu'. So may Allah make us all of those who can establish salah and make it embedded in our hearts, so that when we're in the position when we're in the time of questioning from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that it's easier for our hearts to speak what we would like them to speak. So in another hadith from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we're told that the first matter that the slave will be brought into account for on the Day of Judgment is the prayer. If it is sound, then the rest of the deeds will be sound, and if it is bad, then the rest of the deeds will be bad. The whole point of this life is to do what we can do to make the questioning that we face on Yawm al-Qiyamah easier, and we need to do whatever we can in this life to attain this. Allah does not need our prayers. It's solely for us to gain the fruits of this life and make our questioning easier and make the hereafter easier. Allah does not need any of us. Allah can grab another person and put them in the exact same spot in the masjid at any time. Allah does not need us. We need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we need to keep that in mind. So in Surah Mudaththir, it is said that some of the dwellers in Jahannam will be asked, what caused you to enter hell? And they will say, we were not of those who used to pray. So may Allah protect our hearts from having to speak something like this on the Day of Judgment. So we're told in Surah Inshiqaq, فَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ كِتَابُهُ بِيَمِينِهِ, that the surah, this ayah means that the people who receive the record of deeds in the right hand, and the surah goes on to explain the good fate of this person. And then a few ayahs later it says وَأَمَّا مَنْ أُوتِيَ وَرَاءَ ظَهْرِهِ, and then it speaks about the bad fate of those who receive their account of deeds in the left hand. So may Allah make us all of those who receive the record of good deeds in our right hands and not in the left hands, and protect us from having to witness destruction on the Day of Judgment. So I'll close with one last ayah, the khutbah, the reminder portion of this, from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he asks some of the Sahaba, if a person had a stream outside of his door and he bathed in it 5 times a day, do you think he would have any filth left on him? To which they replied, no filth would be left on him whatsoever. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam then said, this is like the 5 daily prayers, that Allah cleanses the sins and wipes them away by the 5 daily prayers. So I just want to remind us to keep some specific people in our hearts when we make dua. So Yusuf reminded us last week that as Muslims we have to be vested into all the problems affecting everyone around the world without discrimination. So the first of these is the people in the Bahamas who just had their lives completely decimated by a Category 5 hurricane. So may Allah grant them patience and grant them health, and may Allah protect us from going through anything like that during hurricane season here. So the second of these people are brothers and sisters in Yemen. So these people are facing the largest man-made hunger crisis in the world, and it's still the worst humanitarian crisis recognized by the UN. Last numbers I saw on the crisis were from 2018, where almost 9,000 people had been killed and 60,000 people are still struggling, and 3 million people had to leave their homes and flee. Another one is the issue in Palestine. This is an issue that unfortunately we're all aware of, and it's been going on for as long as we can remember. And the Israeli regime has expressed more interest in whether party takes over there. Both parties support the annexing more land in Palestine. So may Allah keep our make it easier make the struggle easier for our brothers and sisters in Palestine. So the next situation is something I detailed 2 weeks ago in the khutbah, and that was the situation in Kashmir. So these people in the area have been on lockdown by the current Indian regime for the past 50 days without being allowed to contact anyone from the outside world, their families or anyone, no internet, anything. These people have been fighting for their freedom for over 30 years, and about 100,000 people have died in the process. Also, the PJP party of India has expressed that they want to remove quote-unquote every infiltrator from the country. This includes anyone who's not Hindu, so Muslim, Christian, anyone. So it's a very serious issue. We all need to be aware and persistently ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and show him that, we are feeling the hurt of the rest of the ummah. As Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam reminded us that he likened the ummah to one body, that if one limb aches, then the rest of the body feels it. So, and that's in the India-controlled port of Kashmir. Also, just on Sunday in the Pakistan-controlled portion of Kashmir, there was an earthquake that collapsed some homes, left at least 20 people dead. I haven't seen the updated count, but when I last saw it, it was above 20. Injured at least another 400. So imagine these people, they went through an earthquake, and they might have family in the Indian part of Kashmir. They can't contact them. So it's a very sad situation. We have to keep them in our du'as as well, inshallah. And also the Muslims in China are in need of our du'as. We need to remember them as well. So there's been a huge crackdown on Islam in China, and a Muslim professor in the country even described the Republic of China as the world's greatest spreader of anti-Islamic ideology. There's also been some images going around recently of some Muslims being shackled and blindfolded and taken by the Chinese police to what is described as quote-unquote re-education camps. So also some of the Muslims are having their organs harvested. So this is a very troubling situation. We have to keep them in our du'as as well. So last people want to remind us as our brothers and sisters in Indonesia who were struck with an earthquake just yesterday, killing about 25 people and injuring about another 100. So may Allah help all these people and take the suffering away from all people in our ummah, inshallah. So I ask Allah to make us all of those who are able to establish 5 daily prayers. I ask Allah to make us able to go beyond that. I ask Allah to inshallah make us to give us the 5 daily prayers as a cleansing tool, so that we can keep our record of good deeds as pure as possible. I ask Allah to not only make us those who are steadfast in prayer, but grant us families and offspring that are also steadfast in prayer. I ask Allah to make the rest of the semester easy on all of us. I ask Allah to grant all of you success, health, and to come back the next semester and help me with whatever comes next. I ask Allah to forgive us all, forgive our parents. I ask Allah to grant shafa to all the sick around the world. I ask Allah to help all the Muslims who are struggling in Libya, Palestine, Pakistan, Kashmir, China, everywhere people are suffering around the world. I ask Allah to make Yawm al-Qiyamah easy on us. I ask Allah to make the questioning easy on us and make our hearts speak what we would like them to speak. I ask Allah to keep us all on Sirat al-Mustaqim. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا ربنا تقبل دعاء ربنا تقبل صلاة ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وقنا السلام.
الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله
الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. والذين لا يدعون مع الله إلها آخر وما يقتلون النفس التي حرم الله إلا بالحق ولا يزنون ومن يفعل ذلك يلقى أثاما يضاعف له العذاب يوم القيامة ويخلد فيه مهانا إلا من تاب وآمن وعمل عملا صالحا فأولئك يبدل الله سيئاتهم حسنات وكان الله غفورا رحيما. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين.
آمين.
والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.